Hello friends, welcome to SQL Server tutorial. In this video, we will see how to apply aggregate function on groups. In the previous video, we saw applying the aggregate function on entire table of records. Now we will formulate a group for those records, then apply aggregate function. So that's the goal here. We will group the records and then we will apply the aggregate functions. In the last video, the aggregate is applied on whole table. So the other usage will be breaking the result in groups. So previously we applied it to the entire table or full table. Now we will apply the aggregate by breaking the entire table into groups. So breaking the result in groups and then applying the aggregate on those groups. So if there are multiple records, we will group those records, and if we get, say for example, 4 groups, then we will apply the aggregate function on those 4 groups and we will retrieve the result. So group by is the class used to group the record. Now we will group the result based on title and apply aggregate function on the group. That means here we are going to group the record based on title, and after that we will apply the aggregate function. Here in the result, if you see, when you are grouping the record based on title, so here we renamed the column as alias book, but in DB it's actually the title column. And here you can clearly see this is one group is Anger the Enemy. There are 4 books and here there are 2 books. So, and for other stuff we have only 1 book, and let's consider only these highlighted items. Say for example, when you are applying the aggregate function, and we will take count as the aggregate function, count of a book, let us state, and count of book in the sense here we will also group by book, right, or title, and is Anger the Enemy will be displayed only once, and count will tell us there are 4 books in this group. Similarly, for this second title also we will get count as 2. Here we will get count as 4. Now let's look at the example. So here is the query. We are making select as we did previously. Select from titles, all this stuff we saw. Here we are grouping the result based on titles.title. So title.title, here we set alias name as book, but we are grouping the result based on this title. So after grouping we are getting the total, average, minimum and maximum. So after the group it will give count 4 and total. If you see, if you count all this, 108 will come. So that's the sum of book sales for this specific title. Then average, count all this and divided by 4. Minimum of book sales is 3 and maximum is 75. So we will verify that with the demo. Note the select list contain only the aggregate function and group name on which it is applied. So aggregate function sum, average, min, max, So that's there in the select list. Then the group name. So that's optional. If you want to include, you can include it. And here we are applying it based on title, right? So we can include only these two. Aggregate function you can include, and you can include the group name on which we are performing the group. Here group by includes title, right? So that can participate in the select list. So if you take some other column here, say for example title ID, you will get an error. So you can only include the aggregate function and then the group name, that is placed in the group by class. So that column you can use. So that's all you can use in the select list. And now let's go to the demo. Here if you see, so we already executed this in the previous video. Now let's do that once again. Here we are just displaying book as well as quantity. So there are 21 books. So we will open one more query, and the only difference with the previous example is here we are applying the group by class, and we are asking apply the aggregate function, sum average min max on the result achieved by this join, and apply the group title. So when I execute this, you can see is anger the enemy, that is displayed only once. And here if you see is anger the enemy, there are 4 entries, and you can see how the sum average minimum maximum is applied. So the total is 108, average is 27, and minimum sales is 3 and maximum sales is 75. And so the government microwave, so there is 2 record, and if you see the government microwave total is 40, 25, 15. That means total sold is 40, average is 20, because 2 records, right? So average is 20, minimum is 15, and maximum is 25. Minimum 15, maximum 25. So likewise the aggregate will be performed based on this group by. So group by means the result here is grouped based on title. So this is the title, and since this is one group based on title, the SQL Server performs this as a group, then applies the aggregate function on these two. Let us look at one more example here. Here if you see, this time we are performing group on type. So since group by column is changed as type, we are changing the title as a type here. So if you still keep title here, you will get an error, and the error looks like this. Column title is invalid in the select list because it is not contained in either an aggregate function or in the group by class. In the group by class we are using the type, so you have to use type only. So before that, here instead of title, let's say use type to examine the result. Titles dot type. And if I execute this, you can see there are multiple groups. This is group 1, group 2, 3, 4. There are 5 groups here, and we want to count the quantity. So in each book type, how much is the sum, average, minimum, maximum? So that's the aim of this second example. And if I execute this, you can see, so the total sales on business type of book is 90. Minimum sales on that particular category is 55 and maximum is 35. Sorry, minimum is 5 and maximum is 35. So let's look at this business category and just verify minimum and maximum. So this is the business category. In this, if you see, minimum sales is 5 and maximum sales is 35. 5, 35. And you can see all 5 group here, and using group by class we performed the aggregate. And now we know what is the total sales on each group of the book, and we know average, minimum, maximum metrics. So in the last video, we applied this group function on entire table. Just by placing the group by keyword, you can apply this grouping function on specific group. So whatever you specify here, based on that, grouping will be applied. That's all here in this video. Thank you for watching. Bye.